attacking in with the freaking fervent champion, and you're like, oh no, they have Evercleave. Oh no. It's like, I'm dead.
Life just got really bad.
Yeah,
really fast.
It's like TBR, like boom, dead. Yeah. Which I like the Fairy Time Raveler in that matchup because they got to play, sorcery speed, which is fine.
Well, that's part of that. So we'll be talking about that later. So, well, we can go ahead and go on to the next one.
Yeah. Personally, if you're gonna play Pioneer and play aggro, play Mono Black aggro. It's my personal opinion. The next archetype we're gonna talk about is Prison.
Yeah.
Oh God. And if you remember Modern, a couple 2 years ago, Pro Tour Rivals at Vexilon, we had a Lantern control deck win the Pro Tour. And Prison decks aren't the most fun to play against just because they like to restrict the opponent on playing certain spells, doing certain, attack steps.
It's building up a base, and there are two different prison types. So you get an artifact prison list, and then there are enchantment prison list, which also could be called Pillow Fort for anybody who hasn't heard that term.
Also, I've played prison decks, mainly the word prison deck and Lantern, but it always feels like a castle of glass. It feels like you're always building up to play this Lantern Insight, then play Codex Shredder, play this, Ensnaring Bridge, and all of it holding together is Ensnaring Bridge. And so it's like if it dies, you're tumbling, you're losing.
Oh yeah, and I would say for these strategies here, knowing the meta is even more crucial than being a control deck.
Yeah,
because not only now you're worried about so if you're playing Lantern, which Lantern's pretty much dead now, but
yeah, Convert Critter.
But I mean, back before you would have to know, do I get rid of this card on top of their library? Do I let them keep this one?
Word Prison especially, because I was playing, otherwise you lose a matchup. First thing I named was O-Stone, then it's Blaststone, then Card Liberated. You needed him all three of those cards to win game one, and it was awful. But
I mean, the word package helped that deck a little bit.
Oh my god!
Because then you could go tutor up what you needed at the time.
Like if they cast a Oblivion Stone, all right, word for Pith Needle, name your O-Stone. It resolves.
Yeah.
Thanks. All right, and the next archetype, this is number 5, by the way, is Combo, and notoriously the combo deck in Modern is Blue-Red Gifts, and Legacy has Tess. And Infect, I would definitely consider a combo deck just because their goal was to get you to 10.
Yeah.
And all their pump spells equal, this can kill them with A, B together. How do you like combo?
I mean, I play Scapeshift.
Yeah. And the deck that always scares me is playing against Ad Nauseam.
And Ad Nauseam is, if you haven't played against it in Modern, it's it's a hard deck to pilot for your first time if you never used the deck before. But then you're sitting there watching it and you're just like, what? The really scary ones are the Legacy list. Yeah. Ad Nauseam is then Storm because they use actual Storm cards.
That's Tests, and I actually really like Tests and Legacy.
And they're different, versions.
They have Tendrils of Agony too, and it's
in Brain Freeze.
Yeah, which Brain Freeze was used in that Lotus Breach deck. But Lotus Breach got banned in Legacy. Yeah. So, yeah. Also, Nauseam's really in Modern. It's really what they do. They want to cast turn 1 Lotus Bloom, then they want to cast a cantrip. And then turn 2, probably a Pentap Prism.
Yeah, they try to ramp, but then you'll start seeing these odd, enchantments that you would never see in any other deck.
Like Phyrexian on
Life End. And you're just and then you have that's your cue that you're playing against an Ad Nauseam player.
Yeah. Definitely
and that should also be your cue to start hoarding your lands in your hand.
They use the card Lightning Storm, and like you can pitch lands into that because there's the activate ability on a spell.
Yeah.
Which is one of a kind. Still believe, which is crazy. But usually the ad nauseum deck ones that go off on turn 4. So just be aware of that. All right, the next archetype we're going to talk about is unfair decks. So I got Tron on here E-Tron. So we're calling it a subtype, which is the unfair graveyard decks, which Dredge and Crabvine.
Yeah, so you get 2 different types of unfair decks. Have big mana decks, and then you have your graveyards focused decks.
Which Tron, what they want to do is play Urza's Mine, Urza's Tower, Urza's Power Plant. Turn 3, play Karn Liberated, which is 7 mana on turn 3, and it usually wins games. Yeah, but actually, Modern has been really fast lately. Like the Modern Prowess deck, they would love to play against Tron because Tron doesn't really very good against it because
and then you have Amulet Titan, which is seen its pretty. I think it's
debut of number 1 deck.
It's peak at this time.
I still think it's good.
Yeah, it's still good.
I don't know what
it's
happened.
just not as consistent.
Also, I think they lost once upon a time, which is okay, they can go back to Ancient Stirrings.
Yeah.
With Amulet Titan, they utilized the card Amulet of Vigor, which keys Amulet Titan, and they use that, play Simic Growth Chamber, the bounce lands, they untap those, produce mana, and they can usually turn 3, turn 4 a Titan. And, the normal play patterns for them is just play, get a Titan, get Slayer Stronghold and Boris Garrison, untap, give it haste, and attack again, get 2 triggers. Yeah. Their whole goal is to cast Primeval Titan on turn 4.
And the reason why they're called big mana decks, if you haven't pieced it together, is they're cheating on the mana cost. They're getting way more mana than you should on a turn.
Normally, you're supposed to cast a Primeval Titan on turn 6. Yeah. It's a 6 drop. Like Karn Liberated, it's a 7 drop. Yeah. They're cheating.
I was how we were saying a while ago, I play Scape Shift, and then some people will try to argue the fact that Scape Shift is a big mana deck. I'm only needing 5 land. I'm just ramping out. Yeah. And then I sack my lands, and then I go win the game. It's not even... that's why we chose that as a combo deck and not a unfair big mana deck.
So Dredge and Grabvine, the reason why they're unfair is because they utilize the graveyard and use the Dredge mechanic. The Dredge cards into the graveyard and get cards like Narcomoeba that comes when it goes in the graveyard, it triggers and goes on the battlefield, and it also triggers your prized amalgams to come from the graveyard to the battlefield. Also, they creep and chill, they get exiled from the graveyard and get a free Lightning Helix.
And then the Vengevines. Yeah. You're playing the creatures that you do play out of that deck that you would cast from your hand are generally 1 mana creatures. So you're triggering the Vengevines and you're swinging.
It's either really, really scary against Crabvine or really, really not scary. I've played against it a couple times, and either they pop off or they don't. They hit their Vengevines or they don't.
It was a lot scarier when Hogak was
around. Definitely that's where Hogak and Hogak got banned, and now this is just Crabvine now. Yep. Alright, so the last archetype we got around here is your mid-range / fair decks. And that's going to be your Jun style decks, your Bant Snowblade type decks, and Grixis Death Shadow is a fair deck, and Green White Valley Town, which is not even a deck anymore, but I miss that deck. And these are the decks that play fairly. What I mean play fairly, they cast their turn 2 Tarmogoyf.
Yeah, and Death of Taxes would be.
Oh yeah, yeah. I like Death of Taxes too.
Or Eldrazi and Taxes as well.
They cheat on mana. I'm kidding. They have Eldrazi Temple and that's it.
Yeah, they cheat a little bit, but it's probably one of the least fair of the fair decks.
So keep this in mind when we tell you these archetypes. Now that you know all the archetypes, keep in mind this is like a triangle effect in Modern. You pick Jund to your Modern deck. okay, well, you prey on combo, you prey on, lantern decks because you have interaction, but you lose to big mana unfair decks like Tron, Aimlet Titan, bad matchups, like Dredge, you just horrible. And then, so you beat those decks, but you lose to other decks. So it's a tug and pull, which is it's perfect in a format. Like you don't just want one deck to be like king.
Yeah, that's kind of why if you're thinking about getting into Modern, especially if you go and look at MTG Goldfish, and you're seeing the top decks of the format keep on like rotating out in and out of place.
Yep.
That's why, because people will play what is quote the best deck at the time, and then a new. It's usually either was a previous tier 1 deck or a tier 2 deck will then take over that spot for a little bit because it beats that deck so hard.
Usually what happens is the deck will be really, really good, and then somebody will make a deck to beat that really, really good deck, and then that deck will go on top, and then somebody will make another really, really good deck to beat that deck, and it's just a constant cycle. Yeah. So it's fine because you always got to adapt your Modern deck to beat the best deck or, have game against it.
Or you do pretty much what I do, and you just focus on one deck, and you just try to be the best at that one deck. Yeah. Even though I've started branching out more lately, but that's another way to go about doing this.
All right, guys. So that's going to cover up our archetypes, and the next episode we'll go over them more specifically and tell you like what decks what they're trying to do. Stuff like that. But that's all we got for you. We're not trying to reach it out to make a long minute episode. So we're just going to cut it off short. Thank you guys for listening. And of course, go to our White Lotus Society Facebook page and give us a like over there. Much appreciated. We're also on iTunes now. And other than that, got anything to say, Brent?
Yeah, also, if you want to re-listen to these, we're also on YouTube as well. And if you even, because I'm pretty sure you could figure out what our names are, if you want to even add me on Facebook and just chat with me.
Oh, yeah. Like, he's Brent Miller, I'm Skylar Meir. Go ahead and give us an ad, and, like, if you want to talk to us, like, go for it.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you all for listening, and have a nice day.